So hello all and welcome, and I am the Realist Philosopher, also known here on YouTube as the Bachelor Philosopher. The Realist is for my alt tech channels. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. So in this video, I wanted to talk about this this short clip I came across on TikTok, where some dude essentially calls into a radio show where they're setting up a date with some chick, and they go out on the date. I guess the radio show covers the date, or they just act as the intermediary, and then you get back on the radio show later on to talk about your date. So it's a gimmick essentially to create the content for the dead genre that is radio entertainment, it seems. And it's very humorous. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to watch the whole video from start to finish. I'm going to try not to interrupt. And then I'll share my thoughts with you at the very end. So I'm not sure why they're calling it second date update, because this is just a dude calling in to let them know how the first date went. But anyway, let's jump right in.
Called Second Date Update. Do you remember Amber?
Yeah, I remember.
Great. Well, she gave us a call and told us that y'all had a great date, but she hasn't heard from you since, and she asked us to call you for her.
Okay.
Did the date not go well?
No. I mean, the date was going good. As far as the date went, I was totally into her and the date, and then it was weird. Like randomly, her friend just showed up on the date.
Huh? Okay.
And then, so this is weird. So the friend shows up, and then Amber dips off to the bathroom. Her friend pulls out a folded piece of paper with her phone number and name on it, and goes, "If this doesn't work out, give me a call."
What?
Yeah, exactly. And then she adds, "And even if it does work out, give me a call anyways."
Whoa. What's up with that? Like, she's just like scamming on you?
It was like, I don't know, some kind of test. It was just so contrived. It was just like, and on the first date, it was so set up.
Hold on, are you sure this was a setup and maybe her friend wasn't just like coming on to you, maybe going rogue a little bit?
No, the way they had this orchestrated was like they had practiced it, and they had practiced it poorly. This was straight out of a middle school play.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
I mean, there's plenty of other ways they could
But
have
it's so
gone
obvious, because
about
also, like,
this.
why would the friend show up? You know, and then Amber's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom right now.
Okay, so here's the deal. When Amber called, she didn't mention any of this to us. Can we bring her in on this conversation and see what she has to say and see what really happened between her and this friend and you and make it make sense?
Of course. Yeah.
Amber, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you hear what Zach said?
Yeah. So, okay, it was a test, but you passed, and you should be proud.
Hold on. You said this really happened?
Renee.
You were testing him to see what he would want, like come on to your friend or go on a date with your friend?
Look, we already talked about this. I mentioned that, I have a baby. I'm on my own. I can't introduce him to my daughter until, I know he's, like, worthy. So I figured I need to be able to trust you, right? Like, just for us to be together, and then, like, probably around my kid. It's,
Just go on more dates.
to separate the wheat from the chaff or whatever.
All right.
She's the wheat.
I mean, if you felt comfortable doing that, then that's okay. I mean, I respect that. That's your decision to do that. For me, I was raised differently. For my friends, acquaintances, relationships, family, trust is earned. It's not a gimmick. It's not a test. It's not a game.
Good point.
And think about this. I mean, this is a whole lot of creativity to figure out where this is going to be down the line. How much more crazier these tests are going to get. The deeper we go, the weirder it's going to be. Am I wrong?
Wow. Well, if you've been burned as much as I have, you would no doubt do something similar. No doubt.
No, I never would. I never would. In a million years, I would never do that. Because if two people have something like, if it's pure chemistry, if it's actually an organic, coming together of two people, that's one thing. And maybe, look, 3 years later down the line, if things get weird, maybe you do a test then to figure out if something's off.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's not the one that burned you, so why should he have to put up with all of these ridiculous antics?
That just sounds, you're talking very, like, virtue signaling right now, and you sound really high and mighty.
Gross.
Just don't ghost me. Don't ghost me. That's the thing, and don't put on this show. You know what I mean? Like,
No. As soon as someone drops the virtue signaling, I'm done. It's over. All right, it was a fun date. You're cool. I mean, what you did was weird. I forgive you. It's fine.
Hold on,
But virtue signaling, gross.
What are you talking about, virtue
Cancel
signaling?
Thank you. That was the only one. I was like, everyone's acting Nancy Chill. What is this?
What is this? What is this virtue signaling you're talking about? Have you heard of that before?
This is cancel culture 101. It's about power. It's about control. Everything's a trigger. Everything's a response to some psychological warfare. It's all a game.
Gross.
No, honey, you're just trying to look high and mighty when you're really a coward.
No. And first of all, when you go and you drop a honey, that's virtue signaling right there. All right? If you're playing by your own rules and then you drop a coward on top of that, now you sound like an elitist. How do you like that?
Dang.
You want to play a game? This is how the game goes.
Okay, so we're gonna jump in here because let's just see if you guys wanted to go on a second date. Now it doesn't sound like it, right?
No, never.
No.
All right. Well, Zach, thank you so much for coming on the air with us. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm sorry about all that, but this is gross.
Hey, whoa, Amber, obviously did not work out how you wanted it to, but probably sounds like it's better this way.
It's good. It's good. I would not want to be with someone like that anyways.
All right, I learned so much.
Okay, so there's so much here that needs to be unpacked. Number one, she contacted the radio station saying they had a great date, she had a good time, and that he ghosted her. Yet she didn't mention anything about this test, and she didn't get the message either that he wasn't interested. The translation being he's either hot, makes good money, or both. So to her, as an aging single mother, this makes him super desirable. And I love how at 1 minute 3 seconds, you have the male radio host simping for her. Oh, what if the friend just went rogue, huh? Yeah, the whole thing could have been some kind of coincidence. Give me a break, right? Yeah, the friend just happened to show up randomly where they're on a date, give this guy her number, which she already had written down on a piece of paper, by the way, ready to give to him, but this was supposedly some kind of random meeting? Give me a break. And even if she knew where they were going to be, how could she have known about this guy beforehand, enough about him to be interested in him and write out a note with her number before she even met the dude? And I love how this Amber chick is so delusional and so lacking in empathy that she may not have even known why he ghosted her, or that he figured out the interaction with the friend was a test. I mean, really? Do you think she didn't suspect that he'd seen through the rather obvious ruse, and that that's why he ghosted her? I love it. She's calling him a coward. It's great. Is it possible this woman is that naive, though? Or does she think he's just that stupid? Probably both. She's probably very naive, and her low opinion of men, she thinks he's that stupid. Or was she hoping he didn't notice, and that his reasons for ghosting her were something more mundane? And I love the condescension at a minute 44 seconds where she says, well, you passed, and you should be proud. Yeah, as if what she did was some difficult test for men to pass, which, by the way, again, shows her low opinion of men. And it also shows how manipulative she is. How manipulative, what with her casual attitude to the whole affair. By the way, I love how women are always talking about how they don't like to play games, and yet they play more games than anyone else. Yeah, he should be proud to have passed her test. So now she's going to give him the privilege, nay, the honor, to go out with her again. Wow, you can't make this stuff up. And I just love how at 2 minutes, 3 seconds, she uses her kid to justify her psycho behavior. Yeah, I got a kid, so I got to make sure you're worthy to be around my kid. Yeah. Well, by the way, right, yeah. What does one have to do with the other? I don't get it. And by the way, she's the prize? Really? First off, why does he need to prove anything to her? He clearly has more value than she does in the sexual marketplace. Just the fact that she would go to all this trouble proves that. Furthermore, this is psycho behavior. Why would she need to make sure he's the kind of guy not to cheat at this earliest stage? And I still don't get what that has to do with her kid and his worthiness to be around that kid. I mean, for one thing, they're not even dating. It's a first date. I mean, while doing something like this, in my mind, never makes any sense, it just shows you've got mental problems. If you ask me, anyway. It certainly makes no sense to do this during a first date. However, I think she actually convinced herself that a man would want a relationship with her. Meanwhile, we in the R-Pill community know full well that few men are going to see this woman as anything other than a pump and dump. That she doesn't know this makes her a pretty typical Western woman, honestly. That she's seeking to make him prove his worthiness to her via such a contrived and obviously fake scenario. points to a very high level of delusion and trauma on her part. Basically, she's damaged goods, and she's showing that here in this interaction. Personally, I think she did this to sabotage the relationship before it even started, because she's been hurt so much in the past thanks to being lied to about what men actually want from her, usually by other women. And because she's been dumped so many times by Chads and Tyrones, she's too afraid to be in an actual relationship. So she's saboing it from the get-go and calling it a test. All the while, this test is just so she won't get hurt again. Fellas, you need to avoid single mothers right from the start. They're damaged goods. And wow, oh wow. I just love how she's going out on this first date with the guy. And from the very start of the first date, she's demanding that he prove how trustworthy he is, that he is actually trustworthy. Meanwhile, herself lying and dissembling from the very start, showing just how untrustworthy she is as she demands he prove his ability to be trusted. I love how she says she needs to separate the wheat from the chaff, like she's the wheat. By her own logic, her actions in this very scenario prove her to be the very chaff that she claims to be trying to avoid. Oh, it's men who hurt me, so now I need to act badly to make sure I don't get hurt, which ensures you're going to get hurt. Or the, I had no choice because I have a kid, so I had to act badly. BS. Not that she thinks her actions were bad, by the way, of course not. And by the way, testing this guy to see if he'll hit on her friend has zero to do with him being able to be trusted around her kid. So that's a non sequitur right there. In addition, she's telling you she can't be trusted not just by her actions, which are lies, deception, manipulation, but by the fact that she herself has only dated bad boys who couldn't be trusted. Seeing as like attracts like, this is a huge red flag. Now at 2:24, this guy, he proves he's a simp, as he says he respects her doing what she did. That's a simp move. What are you talking about? If you respect it, then why would you have a problem with it? That's idiotic. You wimp. You beta male, you. What did she do that was deserving of respect? Nothing. And in fact, her actions earned disrespect, which he should have given her. Furthermore, just going out with a single mother, that's a simp move in and of itself. I don't care if you want to hit it and quit it, that's simp behavior. First off, because if you were to get her pregnant, which is always a possibility, I don't care how much you glove up or how much she supposedly uses birth control, you know from her prior actions that if she does have a kid, she's going to want to raise it alone and she's going to make you pay. And second, she's a single mother. Never date or tap a single mother. Now, after this, I do have to give him some credit for calling her to task and pointing out how weird her actions were at 2 minutes 44 seconds. Sadly, at 3 minutes 6 seconds, he backtracks to being a simp and says that after years of dating, you would maybe do such a test. Nope. Testing someone in this manner, it's not a test at all. It's a sabotage move to destroy a relationship or to make sure one doesn't happen in the first place. Nothing more. It also shows a lack of respect and honesty and that you can't be trusted, as such a move is based upon your own negative view of the world and of yourself, and it shows how insecure you are. In addition, such a supposed test is actually you telling on yourself and proving how untrustworthy you are. Basically, you think everyone is like you. Untrustworthy. And then she seeks to justify her actions by shifting the goalpost and next claiming that it was about how often she's been burned. And if you'd have been burned as much as she had, you'd have done the same thing. It wasn't about her kid at all. This shows that she knew all along her actions were actually irrational and inexcusable. Otherwise, why lie about them in the first place? And given a false reason, right? Why would you say it's out of concern for your kid when it actually turns out it was because you were afraid of being hurt? Huh? Why would you need to lie if you didn't know what you were doing was wrong? So you as a man have got to pay for the mistakes of other men in her past. That's just great. That alone shows how damaged she is. Do you hear how she sees other people and their motivations through the lens of her own mindset and negative worldview? That's how you know you're dealing with a narcissist. They can't see things from another person's point of view. All right? They can't understand other people's motivations. They only understand their own, which they then graft onto those other people. Basically, they have no empathy at all. They can't put themselves in other people's shoes. And I love how the female radio host points out that this guy didn't burn her, so why should he have to put up with this nonsense, these ridiculous antics, as she called it. And you know it's bad when even the female media personality, whose job it is to shill for women, won't come to your defense as a woman. And instead calls you on your bad actions. It calls them antics and ridiculous. But of course, true to form, this woman, instead of acknowledging that she screwed up, instead doubles down. Because of course she does. Of course. And at 3:21, she says, he's virtue signaling. He's virtue signaling? Really, sweetheart? And there it is. She's in the wrong. She knows it. So instead of admitting it, she seeks to poison the well and blame him and make sure nobody else listens to him. He's a virtue signaler. I'm surprised she didn't call him a toxically masculine male. Sadly, this guy, he continued to simp by saying it was a fun date and that she was cool. No, dude, she was not and is not cool. She's a mess and she's mentally unstable. Stop trying to simp and come across as some nice, magnanimous guy. Get some balls and stop caring what anyone else thinks. She's a nut, and that's all there is to it. And finally, at 3 minutes 50 seconds, he starts making some sense and talks about what she's actually trying to do. She's trying to falsely frame him as something he's not and cancel him and make sure nobody will listen to him. He's just virtue signaling and he's a coward. Gotta love it when the ad homs come in. Yeah. It's all about power and control. Nothing more. And I like how he pointed that out. He could have been a little more articulate, but he didn't do too bad a job for someone who was put on the spot. If only he had been this base from the start, he never would have went out with this crazy bint in the first place. And I mean, because she's a single mother. He should have never went out with her. And I love it. How at 4 minutes, 4 seconds, her response, he's trying to be high and mighty. Right. So the same woman that said he passed her high and mighty from on high test and that he should be proud of himself says that he's high and mighty. The irony. Oh, like she's the great almighty decider of what a good, proud man ought to be. Yeah. Projection much, sweetheart? And I love how she says he's a coward. How? Why? Because he's not interested in going out with you again? How does that make him a coward? Oh, right, he's a coward because he ghosted me. Yeah. Made you feel more insecure than you already are. By the way, nobody can make you feel anything. Yeah. I mean, what is he a coward for? Are you saying he's afraid of you? Why? Why is he afraid of you? Is he afraid or is he just being smart? Because you're clearly so damaged that you're willing to sabotage any chance of a relationship right out of the gate. And why would he want to contact you and tell you the truth, huh? Just so he can expose himself to your gaslighting and your lies and your drama? Get out of here. No point. Why bother? And folks, this worked out exactly how she wanted it to. Her main concern was about not getting hurt, while at the same time trying to convince herself and everybody else that it not working out wasn't her fault, but his. No accountability. She proves this to be the case by having to get the last word in and then saying that she would not want to be with someone like him anyway. Right, you mean someone who respects themselves enough to at the very least not be with someone who disrespects them so much right from the get-go? Oh, it's his fault because he didn't understand how logical and reasonable my whole test was. Yeah, it's his fault for not seeing how valuable I as a woman and a single mother am. It's his fault for not understanding why I did what I did and that it was reasonable from my point of view. Yeah. He didn't understand my actions. He should have looked at things from my point of view, even though I'm totally, completely incapable of looking at things from his point of view, because I'm a total, complete narcissist. And I just love her post hoc rationalizations. I liked you and wanted to date you right up to the point where you objected to me having the nerve to test you. So now I don't want to date you. because you objected to my bad behavior, which was not bad at all, and you not seeing that it was not bad is why I don't want to date you to begin with, even though I wanted to date you before. That's hilarious. Let's be honest, this woman and women like her are their own worst enemies. The very guys they claim not to want and that have hurt them time and time again and that they say they're trying to avoid with tests like this are actually the only guys they're going to end up with by enacting these kind of so-called tests. I mean, really, a bad boy is also going to see this supposed test for what it is. He's not going to care, and he's going to hit it, quit it, and then he's going to hurt her in the exact way she claims to not want to be hurt. All the while, the very behavior that she claimed is designed to stop her from getting hurt to begin with is actually going to guarantee that she gets hurt in the future. Rinse, repeat. Brilliant, sweetheart, brilliant. You gotta love the lack of logic, reason, and self-awareness going on here. You know, the truth of the matter is that this guy, he likely had a decent career. He came across as nice, and her as an older, single mother. She thought he was prime husband material who would pay her and her kids' bills. That's it, okay? Sadly for her, he wasn't as nice as she thought, and he had at least some balls. Though this guy's first mistake was even going out with her to begin with. I mean, that shows desperation right there. No self-respecting man, nice or no, is going to sign up to raise another man's kids. He also won't date a single mom, and I would argue that no dude with any brains would even hit it to quit it. That so many men are desperate enough to do so is why so many women out there are opting into becoming single mothers in the first place, because women equate sexual interest from a man with relationship interest. So this gives women the false hope that men actually want a relationship with them when really all they want is to hit it and quit it. No. They may have before you had kids, but now they just want to tap that, ladies. Anyhow, let me know what you think of this story in the comment section. Is this guy more blue-pilled than red-pilled? Is he maybe starting to wake up and smell the coffee? Was he a total complete simp for even deigning to go out with this woman in the first place? And was this woman right? Was this woman right to test him from the first date, to test his worthiness? Is she that high a value as a single mama? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Was she out of line or is he out of line? And hit that notification bell. Give me a like. It helps with the algorithm. Leave a comment. It also helps with the algorithm. And also go follow me on Alt Tech. I got a channel on Rumble and BitChute as well. You'll see my moniker at the top of the page. I am the Realist Philosopher on both of those platforms. Here on YouTube, I am the Bachelor Philosopher. And on that note, I'm out of here. And I wish you all a good and pleasant day. Take care.